And welcome back to Janky AF and Year of the Aerostar, episode number 115. Well, as you can see, I am wearing a bright red sweatshirt today. Now, we often do a lot of red Ford Aerostars. It was a very common color, but it's more of like a dark red, like not quite a burgundy, although there was a burgundy color, but it's like sort of just like a dark barn red, I guess maybe you would call it. And I often, if you've watched any of those episodes, bemoan the fact that there was not like sort of a fire engine red as a factory color for the Ford Aerostar. Well, today, as you can probably obviously tell where I'm going, we are going to talk about, dreams coming true, I suppose. So, without further ado, here we have a 1991 Ford Aerostar NA, listed for $1,500 in Stanhope, New Jersey. Of course, there's a famous comedian named Doug Stanhope. That's where I've heard that name before. Very strange name, Stanhope, don't quite understand it. Perhaps there's an etymology somewhere for it. However, this is in Stanhope, New Jersey, the great state of New Jersey, which I bought my Buick in the state of New Jersey, my 1995 Buick LeSabre, and I find often you can find some nice cars down there. They don't seem like they don't winter quite as badly as they do up here in New York, New Hampshire, generally in the New England area. So, we're bearing the lead here. This is a bright fire engine red Ford Aerostar, and the paint job, it can't be a factory color, but the paint job looks phenomenal. You can see even the bumper looks to be painted body color as well, which I love. And when we see the rear bumper, we have some questions surrounding that, but let's get into the description first off. So a 91, which is a cool year, which we'll talk about, driven 168,000 miles. Now, what's curious about that is this seller has two vehicles listed. He also has a Toyota Tacoma listed, and that is also listed at 168,000 miles. So quite a coincidental that both vehicles have the exact same mileage, and it's 168,000, which leads me to believe perhaps it's not actually 168,000, or it could just be he has two vehicles that both have 168,000 miles on them. I would be curious to know if that's true or not. And this listing generally leaves, we're gonna leave with a lot more questions than answers in this Aerostar listing. Automatic transmission, exterior color red, interior color gray. Well, that is certainly, that has been answered. Fuel type gasoline. 2 owners. Okay, this is great. Seller's description: Ford Aerostar. As if, you're really stretching the limitation or the definition of the word description when you describe a Ford Aerostar as being a Ford Aerostar. You're not wrong. But, that's an interesting way to describe it. Very meta, I guess you could say. So that's, quite honestly, at least it doesn't say Chevy Astro, right? But I find myself, because of this outstanding, amazing, bright fire engine red paint job, and look at a couple, there's 4 pictures, so, better than nothing. But I almost want to reach out to the seller because I'm so curious as to why this got a bright fire engine red paint job. You can see the interior. We also have these really nice plush, puffy seat cushions. Now, for a 91, we have the center console, which is really cool, and it looks like we have power locks and windows, which especially on these early Aerostars and Aerostars in general, I would have thought this would be a crank windows. And then we have the center console. I'm willing to bet too it has like the fancy trip computer up here. What I want to know is the gauge cluster digital or analog? We don't have that information. We do have the big stock automatic transmissions. That's as described. Now on the back, no plates on it. I can't remember when the Aerostar badge moved this back. It looks like, actually, now that I'm looking at it closely, it looks like there are 2 holes here. So it looks like it's just missing the badge, and that's easy enough. I think it only was the first 3 years, 86 through 88, that the Aerostar logo was on sort of the front quarter panel, which I think it's a great location for it. I think by this time it had moved back to the rear with the updated grille. And so again, I didn't see this before, but now that I'm looking at 2 little holes here, so whatever, buy a badge, no big deal. Now the funny thing is, this rear bumper has like this sort of like copper bronze color, fairly you know, it seemed like in the earlier days they painted these bumpers more than they did later on. They just became like flat gray bumpers. And this 2-tone little mid stripe in the middle used to be a thing that eventually kind of went away too, and you'd have almost these like sort of faux chromed little border stripes, and eventually that kind of just became like usually one color. But the funny thing is, you know, was this like because this almost looks to be a kind of like a darker red than the rest of the body. I'm so curious as to why this got painted red, but the whole bumper did not get painted red, whereas the front bumper, it's not like, you know, again, you don't have like maybe this is a replacement bumper, who knows, but it's not like bronze over with a red stripe. It's just the whole thing's red, whereas in the back we have this bronze over red stripe. I think I would probably, at this point, you kind of have to paint this whole bumper red to match. Only other shot we get is a shot of the rear. You can see this plastic molding is starting to sort of warp and bend. That's very, very common, very, very normal. It's too bad, and obviously your headliner's falling down a little. It looks like it kind of stops around here. It looks like it's really just the back where your headliner's turning into a big puffy parachute curtain, as it does. I like the all gray interior, and now of course I'm scheming, so I'm like, oh, I could take this gray interior, because my 93 Sport does not have a gray interior, or it does have a gray interior, but does not have rear seats. So I would love to get like 2 sets of rear seats for that. And, you know, then do something funky with this bright fire engine red Aerostar. I'm very smitten. I mean, the prices, that's, you know, $1,500 is how much I paid for my green 93, but I have so many questions. Like, is it running? What's the story with the car? Why was it repainted? Again, the last thing I'll say is I love the 89 through 91 grille. It's the modern style grille, but it has the Ford logo in the middle as opposed to up top. Now in 91, you still had sort of the old style non-flush mounted headlights, which I kind of like. I like the newer ones, but there's something cool about these recessed headlights. Again, your bezels are chrome instead of a more sort of flat matte gray. It does look like there's some sort of like weird panel gap issue happening here with the hood. I don't know if something is just ajar, if it's a fit and finish issue, or maybe the hood is just not totally shut, because it looks like it's going on this side too. And if that's all it is, the hood is up, then that's no big deal, because everything else looks like it's pretty, you know, gap free and straight. Interesting listing, very interesting listing. Again, I'm very tempted to reach out, but I don't really want to reach out if I don't have the means to actually purchase it and sort of waste anyone's time. But I don't know, if you're in the New Jersey area and you want to go look at this thing, again, I'll offer up my deal. I always offer up, if you can buy it and you know, we can work out some sort of payback deal that, you know, makes it worth your while. Just to get it up here. But I'm really fascinated by this 91 Aerostar in bright fire engine red. I mean, the quality of the paint looks quite good. You know, it's kind of shimmering, even the bumper. Now, again, I'm wondering why was the grill painted black? You know, like this looks like maybe there's some paint chipping off. Was it originally gray or even like white or green or something like that? And again, why is this rear bumper not totally red? And what is the story with this Aerostar? Now, if it truly does have 168,000 miles, I'm sure it's got quite the story to tell. But again, it's like, you know, we just had these 2 rattle can paint jobs. This looks like a really nice professional paint job from what I can see. I don't see any overspray. The color looks like it has like a nice clear coat over it. It looks shiny. It looks really, really, really nice. Even like, it looks like your door jambs, you know, like in all here are all painted, you know. Maybe it was just originally red and they just brightened it up with this fire engine red, but I want to see the engine bay. I have so many questions with this Aerostar. I'm really, really intrigued and fascinated by it. And, you know, maybe we can get to the bottom of it. But, again, can't really be buying another vehicle right now. I have to sell some. Talk about that later. But, you know, the reason I am selling vehicles that are not Aerostars is so I can buy more Aerostars. So that's the good news. So we'll get there eventually. But again, if anyone, you know, is down in this area and can give me any sort of intel on this situation, I would love to hear the story. I hope this one stays for sale a while. I have a feeling it won't. I have half a mind to get a hold of the seller, but I got to stop talking about it. I got to stop looking at it. We got to move on to the next one. Episode 116 will be another banger, I promise. That there's a really cool one. Now, I've seen up for a while, but there's one special thing about it that I didn't notice till recently. So we'll do that. And hope you're enjoying this little run of Year of the Aerostar. We're marching through, getting close to the 125 mark, which is amazing. It seems like just yesterday we were doing episode 100. So I got some comments to do. I got some people to talk to. There's still a couple things related way back to 100 episode that I wanted to do. I never did. So we'll try to keep doing that as we march forward in this new year. And, what else can I say but Janky do Thanky? All right. This has been Year of the Aerostar here on Janky AF. We'll have another one for you very soon. And until then, again, we say Janky do Thanky.
One small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.